Good evening. Thank you for this invitation, Dr. Kelly, because for me it's a very great pleasure, to meet you and trying not only to speak on the topics of space and religion, but perhaps during the first period of 20-25 minutes, I try to give you an idea of the situation of science and religion in France. I think it could be interesting for you. Perhaps you have your own experience of these topics, but to know what is the actual, coming from the past, situation of the topic of science and religion in France. And after, in the second time, I try to share my own experience on this field of science and religion by, you're right, not a very original, but an original situation to be at the same time priest and in a country where we have a real great separation between church and state, as priest, or even if I am priest, to be in charge of ethics in a public organization. I think that it could be, yes, for me, I am learning every day this situation concerning science and society, concerning science, society and religion, and at least learning of my own religion and my own research in theology. Okay, first time, some very quick and little idea concerning the French situation, a sort of French touch concerning the science and religion situation. To do that, to give all the stories too long, not 20 minutes, it's impossible to do that. But I chose, and we chose that 2 days ago during our first meeting, I used another experience from another French priest who was Teilhard de Chardin. And I think that this man, during half a century, between his beginning in the religious life, just at the beginning of the 20th century, until the half of the 20th century, he died 50 years ago, just this year. And during this time, he offered, I think so, a real interesting experience of the way, as French scientist, as French Jesuit, he has to manage this question of relation between science and religion in his own country or around the world. But I maintain on in France. First, when you enter the Jesuit company, it was just the beginning of the 20th century. Just at this time, that means 1 century ago, France was the place of very hard battle between church and state. And perhaps you know that at this time, the government decided to apply a very hard separation between church and state. And all the members of the religious order have to fly, to quit France. They don't have the possibility to have building, to have houses. They can live during a very short time on the territory, but none people as Jesuit, as Dominican, have to fly France during quite 20 years. It's the first experience of Teilhard de Chardin. He was just entering the Jesuit company, and he was obliged to quit France, to leave France, and to begin his own entrance in the Jesuit company in England, in fact. I think you have to remember this situation. It's only 1 century ago. Perhaps for you, in America, 1 century is very long. For me, in Europe, it's nothing, 1 century. When you have the Dominican order was created in the 13th century. That means the 7th century ago. What means 1 century? For the French people, this first episode is very, very important until now. We remember somewhere that 1 century ago it was this sort of very hard separation between church and state. And the victory was in the field of the state at this time. The first experience of Teilhard de Chardin, the young Father Pierre. And after that arrived the First World War, another very interesting situation, because all things are changing at this time. Everybody come again in France to defend France, even the priest or the young religious. And Teilhard was engaged on all the front of France, between France and Germany, during the 4-5 years of battle. And he was engaged not as young priest, he was priest at this time. He was not officially the chaplain. Yes, chaplain. I'm sorry, my English is not perfect, but I try to. If you don't understand, don't worry to break me. And he was not officially a chaplain because the regiment, or yes, the company, or the regiment perhaps, to which he belonged, the majority of the soldiers was Muslim. So it was not possible it was not necessary to have a Catholic chaplain. And he only belonged to the Hills service or something like that. Brancardier, he was carrying the poor soldiers, okay. During
the ambulance service.
Yes,
He was carrying a litter carrier.
Yes, yes. During 5 years.
Like the Red Cross.
Yes, sort of. But as soldier, Brancard, as in Lourdes, you know, people who are carrying people. And this time was very important for Teilhard de Chardin concerning his own intellectual reflection. But at the same time, this war was a very important time for this question of relation between church and state. Because after the war, people asked themselves, we cannot pursue our former political way of separation and sort of refusing the existence of religious order, because we know that these people are ready to work with us, to work for the French country. So all the decisions, the former decisions, were solved and disappeared at this time. And a new time was engaged, more relaxed concerning this sort of relation. Even if people don't change in 5 years, even if always was maintained a sort of anti-clerical movement in France. But at this time for Teilhard, it was not a bad time. He came back to Paris. He was engaged in their own studies in natural science,